I am Bozo the Clown. I plugged my mic in but forgot to change the input settings in OBS, so it just came through my laptop. I would re-record, but I have had so many issues with this video, I just want to get it out and get on to the next one, please and thank you.
Hi, hello, and welcome, or welcome back, I suppose. Have I plugged my microphone in? Yes. I know, my face again. I wasn't expecting to be doing it like this, but quite frankly, my brain is just not working with me on anything I try to do when it comes to art stuff. And sometimes that is simply down to the fact that I am recording it, I'm like aware that I'm recording it, so there's like a perfectionism that sort of hits into my brain. But I want to get this video out because I'm aware I had to delay it by a week because I just wasn't, there was no way I was getting it done. So if there is one thing I love in my fiction, and yes, you can see me looking at my script because I'm not used to filming like this anymore, so there's a reason I only record audio now, because it makes my life easier, but you're getting a video either way. So if there is one thing in my life that I love, it is a little bit of whimsy. That's why the Dalagut Dream department store and its sequel, that's why they're two of my like favourite books. It's why I love them so dearly. So when I saw this book at my local library, I was like, I need this in my life. So today we are taking a little dive into Watermoon by Samantha Soto Yambao, with some, like, I guess, spoilers ahead, sort of. And to be clear, I like this book, and, you know, the aspect of the whimsical and the fantastical, that really satiated my love of those things. But there were also aspects of this book that turned me into a little hater, and I want to be upfront about that. I'm not disappointed that I read this book, but I will safely say that if Yambao's other books are like romance-centric, probably not for me. But I'll get the plot synopsis out of the way to, well, not a full synopsis, just a little summary, just so you get some context before I go, hey, what the fuck is on my arm? Cat scratch. Thank you, Zelda. My OBS is like directly above. I should probably put these the other way around, because that's like less obvious. I'm like going, oh, at my script. Let's do that, shall we?
Like, even if it is obvious, it's less, I guess. It is also weird just seeing my massive bald head, which is directly in front of me like this. My big gorgeous egg head. I don't even know if I'm keeping this lot in. Anyway, where are we? Right. You can probably still see that I am reading my script, but that's fine, because I'm giving you a fucking plot synopsis, so this doesn't have to be as natural.
Toshio Ishikawa has run an extraordinary pawn shop for decades at this point, but he isn't buying gold. People don't enter that place intentionally, but they're absolutely supposed to be there. Here they can pawn their deepest regrets and leave to live a happier life. But Toshio is ready to retire and hand the reins over to his daughter, Hannah. But day one, she comes down and finds that not only has the entire store been ransacked, but her father is also missing. Luckily for her, somebody comes into the pawn shop, and while most people are looking for help, this is somebody offering it to Hannah. You know, Hannah is from this mystical world, full of things that our science cannot explain. So of course the man who walks through the door, Keishin, is a physicist, and he is confounded by this whole new world that's being opened up to him. Now, my issue with Hannah and Kei's romance is twofold. The first part is that it's like kind of intense, kind of quickly. Not like sexually intense or anything like that. Just sort of, I guess, they get very familiar with one another. Because, look, I do genuinely think that this part is just I don't really like this kind of romance type kind of beat, but they just get like really touchy-feely really quick. And I know it's meant to be like a love at first sight type of thing, but like, if I'd known someone less than a day, a few hours at best, And I know, but like if they're like moving my hair out of their face, or the thought of me doing that to like and like every time they would like they're stood by the pond about to go on their first sort of adventure out, take the first step on their journey, and he like very lovingly moves her hair out of her face, and I was like, that's so quick to be like that familiar with her. Ew. Step back, take a step back, just like, and that's just it. Like, I know that like I'm saying, if somebody moved my hair out of my face, if somebody tries to move my hair out of my face, I've got bigger issues, because like suddenly I've got actual hair again. But they were so familiar with each other so quickly, and I was just like, ugh. I can see why others would like it. You know, it's they meet and there's this instant connection and it feels like there's something drawing them together, but I'm just like, I cannot gel with this. I just kept, like, they would just do shit and I'd just be like, And the other part of this is that there is this recurring argument with them, and it just got on my fucking wick. Yes, it does kind of tie up into like Hannah's, like it ties up into a big reveal later down the line. That is wet on the bottom. Ew. Can't a man have a drink in peace? Yeah, the recurring argument does tie into the plot later down the line, but it's like, the reason they're having this argument is because Hannah is holding an immense amount of guilt, but the argument basically never changes. It is the exact same thing over and over and over and over again. It's just like, Kayshan, you should go home. Kayshan, you could go home. Kayshan, you can just leave right now. Kayshan, you shouldn't be helping me. Kayshan, you shouldn't be here. Kayshan, you can go. You should go. Go home. And it's like, listen, I get it. I get how it ties into the plot later on, but it never changes. It's the exact same sort of wording every single time. It is so cyclical and annoying, and it's just like, I talk all the time about how repetition as an emphatic device can be really useful and it can work really well, but this doesn't feel like that. It just feels lazy. And I know that sounds rude, but it does, because it is written in the exact same way every single time, and I'm just like, is there anything? Is there any other way that you could phrase this? Because I feel like you could, because it could work, because it is this gnawing guilt that you don't find that out until so far to the end as well. So it is just like this frequent, every time they're somewhere new, it's just like, but you could go home, you could just go home, you can just go home. It's like, yes, he does, and he's made his decision that he's going to stay. Like, the amount of times in my notes where I'm just like, yeah, he's staying, he's staying, he said that he's staying, oh my god, he said that he's staying. If he wanted to go home at any point, he would have said so by now. Just like, like, there are moments where with any other romantic pairing, I might have gone, not any other, but like with another romantic pairing, I might have gone like, oh my god, that's so cute, I love it. But with these two, I was just like, ew. They turned me into a hater, and I love a good romance story, but the romance aspect of it, this was not for me. Like, towards the end, it got heartwarming. The last few chapters had me feeling satisfied for them, but nothing more than that. Like, I wasn't celebrating anything. I was just like, okay, that's good. That's what they deserve. Like, don't we want anything more than that? Like, surely when you're reading something like this, you want to be like, oh my god, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. Oh my god, I'm so happy for them. But like other books, that's exactly what I'm like. But here, I'm just like, okay, good. That's what Look, I should move on, because I am not a complete hater. Just of the romance I am. But, like I said at the start, I did genuinely enjoy my time with this book for the most part. Yan Bao's imagery is gorgeous. The Shikuin, which is what I was meant to be drawing here today, are, oh my god, their visuals are so ghostly and haunting, and just like, oh, they like talk with 1,000 voices. There is this constant stench of death around them. They're made up of these metal parts. They have a emotionless no mask, effectively for a face, and they're sort of shrouded in kimonos. And I just like, everything about them is so well put together, and like, there is this energy of the kimonos, the way they like flow and move. It all just like, oh, I love it. Like, I found them so delectable as villains, and there is just this like, the thing with them is that for the most part they are an unseen pursuer, but just the notion of them is, it's so, oh, they're a terrifying threat, and you don't really know their motivations for most of the book, and that really does increase their terror. But even with the knowledge of what's going on, oh, horrifying. And you know, the truth behind them is deeply upsetting, and I won't go into details on this, but there is a parallel of imagery with clawing hands that is very understated but brilliantly done. There is no attention brought to it. It is there for the reader to pick up on, and because I'm a genius, obviously I picked up on that. I didn't clock it until I was scripting, and then I was like, oh wait, those two things are very similar. Huh, that's cool. And it is. That kind of imagery was so good, and they were deeply just like, there is pit in your stomach when you're reading about them. It's so chef's kiss. And Hannah's world is just made up of all sorts of fantastical places, and you have to get to them in wonderful ways. Like, the basic one is you jump into a body of water, no matter the size. Like, they jump into a pond, a well, a puddle, and that's how they get to the places where they need to go. But sometimes you can't get to places so simply, but yeah. Where's my brain going? Yeah, like, there is one scene where they travel on a song, and it leaves them basically in one room tied to this song for occasion, and I love it's so dreamlike. And later on they travel on a rumour, as it were, so it's like Keishin basically starts this like little whispering, and it's true, but yeah, you know, he goes, I'm not from here, and then there's like that rumour travels that there is like an outsider with these two, and that's how they get to where they need to go. That's so fun. I love stuff like that kind of whimsical fantasy, very dreamlike fantasy, really gets to me, you know what I mean. And I find it a lot of that kind of whimsical fantasy in a lot of Japanese and Korean stuff, and it tickles my pickle. And you know, then they get to these places, and you know, one of the first places they go, everything is hand drawn, where that includes them while they're there. It looks like, in my head, it was very much like the Take On Me music video, but that was just the imagery that was brought up for them. But they're like drawn in ink and everything, and there's a lot of links to ink and paper and origami and all that sort of stuff. Like the stuff that I could probably read into a little more with that. You know, like paper can do so much here. Like Keishin talks about how there are theories that time can be bent in sort of our world, and there they sort of work with that theory, and they fold time with paper. Beautiful, absolutely fucking beautiful. I love that stuff. And you know, they have to go up and take boats on clouds in a night market, and there is this like ghost town that they're in. Everything is beautiful, but I don't know if these fantastical elements outweigh how I feel about the romance and the overall plot, and those two things are very intrinsically linked. I had fun. You know, there are aspects of the plot I genuinely love without the whimsy as well, like beyond the whimsy. Haruto's story is fantastic. I loved that, and the overall exploration of escaping one's fate and destiny and expectations centered around him and Hana, and you know, and obviously Keishun as well. But with those two in particular, I really like the way those two stories played off each other. And there's aspects of motherhood I'm sure I could read into more. I just didn't while I was reading because it's not what I was focused on. But there's a lot of parallels between Hana and Keishun's mothers, so it would certainly be worth reading into with that. And it's all like, I liked the book, but I have mixed feelings on it. I think that's the safest way to put it. I don't regret reading it. It's not one of those where it's like I picked up and I thought it would be amazing, but now I'm just sat here like, ugh. But first of all, I certainly wouldn't read it again in the way that I happily would with something like Dalagut, which fits a similar kind of whimsy, just this is a fair amount darker. But I don't think the charm of the whimsy here, the charm of the fantastical stuff, is enough to make me go, this is fantastic. Which, to be fair, I've heard people talk, I think I mentioned this earlier, you know, I've heard people talk about Dalagut in similar ways. People say that it's, you know, the imagery there is overpowering to the plot, but for me, it's a very simple plot in that it's not really, the whole plot in that is whimsical as much as the aspects around it, whereas here there are darker themes being explored, and there's the romance. I think it mostly is the romance. Like, I couldn't click with the two main characters, which is difficult because they're the two people that we're following, so it's always going to be a bit more like, I need to want to follow them, and I don't know that I did for the most part. Like, I liked the overall story going on, but I don't know. Like, maybe if Yanbao has other stuff that is fantasy but isn't romance, I might give it a go, but I'm not rushing for it. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, I think next week, hang on. Yes, next week, if I can pick this up properly, is Anthony Doerr's Cloud Cuckoo Land, because I had this recommended to me, I want to say on the Cemetery Boys video, where I was talking at the end about wanting to find some like good adult fiction, like actual fiction for adults, because I'd just been in a slew of reading so much young adult and teen stuff, and I think the other book they recommended is one that I've already read, which I want to say was Clara and the Sun, but I requested this from the library because I figured, why not? It's quite a thick boy, so it might take me a little bit, but I think I can get through it by next week. certainly give it a good go and see how we get on with that, eh? I will... Yeah, I don't know what it's about. I didn't actually look it up. I just thought, fuck it, I'll go off someone's random recommendation. Shall we have a look? There is magic in this place. You just have to sit and breathe and wait and it will find you. 15th century Constantinople, present day Idaho, the future and humanity's last hope. Across time and space, 5 young dreamers are bound by a single ancient text. Together they tell a story of a world in peril, of the power of words, of resilience and of hope against all odds. And the Pulitzer Prize-winning author of All the Light We Cannot See returns with a heartbreaking, magnificent epic of human connection and a love letter to storytelling itself. Okay, whoever you are that recommended this to me, clocked me. This is exactly up my fucking street. You clocked me. That wasn't somebody who I know, which is usually who is commenting on my stuff. For once, I, breached containment and somebody was like, oh, you should read these. You clocked me. This is exactly the sort of shit that I love. I feel like I'm gonna eat this up. It's about storytelling, fucking coming together through the ages. Oh, and it also apparently is heartbreaking, so God knows I'm gonna be crying again. Hopefully, I will have some art to go along with that when I review it, but my brain is turned off. And at least I'm being good and actually uploading something. Apparently my internet's gone. Great. Well, that should still be fine. Because I'm only recording right now. I don't need the internet for that. Anyhow, we're at the end of the video. So feel free to like, feel free to subscribe, and feel free to ring that notification bell. All the cringe shit I'm supposed to ask you to do at the end of my videos. But most importantly, I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, a wonderful whenever you are watching this. Take good care of yourself. Right.